Hello everyone and welcome to the Action Figuratorium. My name is Mark Major. I'm a real big toy collector here in Southeast Portland, an old school sales and marketing guy who now runs his own studio here in Chilwaukee, Oregon. And let me just say, hey, how you doing? How about that for a greeting, folks? So originally this was a video that I wasn't really planning on making because I feel that a lot of people have already gone over this subject quite a bit. This is in regards to the licensing deal of DC through Warner Brothers and Mattel, who will be taking over making toys in 2026 instead of McFarlane and Spin Master, who was doing the toys previously of the DC line. And I thought, well, you know what? I've got some predictions that are pretty far out from what everyone else is saying. Everyone is really fixated on this other stuff, and I'm reading something different in the news, and I thought, maybe I'm not getting it. Maybe if I make a video explaining it to you guys, I won't necessarily convey to you what you're not getting. I'm hoping that maybe you guys can explain to me what I'm missing, and that way we can all sort of discuss and grow together. What do you think of that one? So we're going to get into the Los Angeles Times article and see what little breadcrumbs they have dropped and see what Mark is missing. So everybody come together, strap on the leather, and hold on tight. Let's begin by just cherry picking a couple of these quotes from the LA Times article. And I did actually try and look up some other articles. I tried to find as many kind of CNN Money, Forbes, Yahoo Finance type articles. I think that those really are really better than, you know, when you go through like LA Times or Variety Magazine or things like that, you know, Batman news. You really want to get into the Business Insider type stuff. But there's a few comments in here that I thought were particularly interesting. Okay, so just to recap, the action figures for the most part in the toy aisles and in the collectibles have been coming from McFarlane, who's been making these 7-inch figures, and he's got like, I think, 3 different lines that he's been doing. And I actually picked some of these up. Some of them ended up being kind of cheap at the local Goodwill, and I scooped them. I thought, why not? They, you know, there's like a Catwoman there. That looks kind of fun. And of course, Spin Master, of which I made a video, like other people, bitching about the HasLab Ghost Rider car that they were doing, and I was pointing out how other people are doing cars on the cheap, and I showed a Spin Master Batmobile that I got for $20, and it came with a Batman figure, and you know, it's a cool car. I think it's going to make kind of a cool custom. So that's who's been making the toys up until now. We're seeing that in 2026. Mattel is getting the license back. They've had it in the past. And one of the first things I need to let everybody know in regards to these licenses is they're not some sort of rare magic item, right? There isn't like a map that somebody has that will take you to the desert or maybe to the Arctic and you can find one of these licenses and make toys. Licenses are just agreements between parties, and it's up to both parties to meet halfway on what they want these licenses to be about, that they make sense for both parties, and that they both enforce these licenses, all right? So the license thing is not as big a deal as you think in terms of like, oh, it's like without this license, they can't make these. Mattel's actually been making DC toys nonstop for like preschoolers and little kids. They've never stopped making DC toys. It's just like sort of which area they want them to focus on. Spin Master was making toys for kids in toy stores for like the movies that were coming out. McFarlane, because he's like an old school sort of comic guy, he's kind of comic royalty. He was making sort of the deep dive figures of the comic book lines, as well as some of the retro stuff like, you know, the Batman 66 stuff, because there's not like a new, you know, Batman 66 isn't new. It's like an old retro nostalgic thing, and kids aren't going to dig that. But old school collectors like me, I mean, when I grew up as a kid, that 60s Batman, that was my Batman. So, so Mattel taking this over now, right? That's supposed to be a big deal. We're supposed to get all this brouhaha in regards to, like, now they're going to compete with Marvel Legends, with these, you know, DC Legends, and there'll be 6-inch figures, and we're going to get all this adult collectible stuff and things like this. And I'm saying brakes on this, people. Let's look at some breadcrumbs, okay? Here's a paragraph right here talking about it. The announcement also comes as filmmakers work on new DC movies slated to be released in the next several years. The lineup includes Superman, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Clayface, and the Batman Part 2. Okay, now there's also like some movies or some TV shows coming out. There's like some kind of Green Lantern show and stuff like that. So one of the tweets that I made when I saw this a couple days ago is Warner wants Mattel to make toys for the upcoming DC movies. That's what I just read. As stated in the LA Times article, that's where I got it from. Predicting you will get kids' garbage and not collector-grade figures. Okay, another thing that I said. I made a comment on Jersey Maniac Collector, and I said, because he posted this, let's discuss the big news. Mattel wins back lucrative rights to make DC-themed action figures. All about the movies and getting branded toys on the shelves at kid height level. Expect nothing else. Okay, so what exactly am I talking about when I bring these up? Let's see here. Let's go back to LA Times article. So we need to talk about what Warner Brothers wants, and then we need to talk about what Mattel wants, and let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Okay, DC, Warner Brothers, DC licenses out the DC characters to lots and lots and lots of companies over lots of SKUs. Okay, we're talking like apparel, which, by the way, I own three pair of branded DC Converse. I've got Batman's, I got Catwoman, and I got Justice League. All right, I got all that stuff. So we're talking apparel. We're talking about things like trapper keepers and thermoses and pens and notebooks and stuff like that. We're talking about other toy companies, right, who make things besides these action figures, like Jada Toys does little metal figurines, and Funko's got like Funko Pops, but they also did the DC action figures reimagined as Masters of the Universe hulking dudes in their primal age. I gave away an Aquaman for one of my giveaways. We've also seen that Mezco makes DC characters. We also see like some Japanese companies, these Yamaguchi Revoltex makes like Catwoman and a bunch of stuff. So there's a lot of brands out there that are cranking out DC stuff, right? Not just toys, but everything. And video games and all sorts of tchotchkes along the way, right? Any like little fig pins and all sorts of crap, right? So if you think like what Warner Brothers wants is more money, sure, they're going to make money off the toys. They don't do it like to lose money. They know they make money, right? But what you need to realize is it's a pie, and it's just one of many slivers, and it's just some number. And regardless of who's making the toys, if it's McFarlane and Spin Master, if it's Mattel, if it was Hasbro, which, by the way, if you didn't know, Hasbro has a DC license. Imaginext does tons and tons of Imaginext DC characters and playsets and vehicles, and they're amazing, by the way. I'm also predicting that the next great collecting boom of form factor after Lego #1, Playmobil #2 is going to be Imaginext #3, okay? That's if you want to get in there early, start collecting now. So everyone's making DC stuff, and it's just like some percentage number. Whoever's like bringing it in, if it's Spin Master, if it's Mattel, and it's just some number. And then when they get to the board meetings, they go, "Oh, what's our number?" And they're like, "Oh, it's 13.4." And they're like, "Okay, great." And then next year it's like, "What's our number?" It's 13.9. They go, "Woo!" And then they toast, and that's it. It's just some number, and it goes up a tiny bit every year, a little bit this way, that way. It's all part of a huge pie. It's part of the sum of the parts, okay? So they're not looking to this Mattel gig to get rich or to like make payroll. it's going to be some amount, and they know exactly how much money they're going to get out of it, and it's not like as big a deal as you think. But what they do want, people, they do want the toys on the shelves to advertise the shows. And what we're seeing is it's all about the James Gunn universe, the JGU, people, the JGU, all these new shows and movies that they're investing in, that they're coming out with. This is the big push. And they want Mattel out there making the toys to advertise for their shows. Well, let me give you an example. Mom goes out shopping, grocery shopping. She's at Kroger's. She comes to an end cap and she sees there's all these toys in the end cap and it says, coming out on the 21st, Batman. And she goes, oh, well, you know, little Timmy's having a sleepover that day and Billy's going to be over and I can take the kids to the Batman movie. This is what DC wants. This is what Warner Brothers wants. They want the toys, as I mentioned, at kid height, advertising their shows, okay? They want the kids to be advertised to through the toys for the shows. This is part of their marketing. Now, are they like losing money on this? No, they're making money. This is for marketing. This is what DC wants. This is what Spin Master was doing for them, okay? Spin Master was doing this. Now, what does Mattel want, people? What do you guys think Mattel wants? Well, Mattel probably wants to make money. But Mattel, if we look at their track record with Motu, what did these guys do? Okay, what did these guys do with Motu? They had 4 Motu lines going when they brought it back. They had a line for the Masterverse, right? That Kevin Smith show. They had a line for that kids computer generated, that CG shows, wasn't it called like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe or something like that? They had a toy line for that. They had a third toy line that was just minifigures, right? So those things are just they're for dollar store crap for poor people, right? And then they had their adult collector line, their retro play. Remember that? I think Retro Blasting did a pretty good shill video talking about those, how they're like sort of the new He-Man with better articulation. Not a bad vid. Go check it out. So in looking at what Mattel does best, they do quantity over quality. They sell a lot of crap, people. They're out there barbifying the universe at Target. You go to Target, there's enough Barbies to kill somebody. Who knows? You may have lost a family member to one of these Barbies, all right? So what we're looking at here is they're going to do something very similar. They're going to have all their teams making toys for kids, for the shows, for the movies. They're going to have a smaller group. They're going to have a smaller group making the adult collectibles. Now, let me go to a reply from Jersey Maniac to me when I said, all about the movies and getting branded toys on the shelves. Expect nothing else. And he said, no. He told me no. Mattel isn't stupid. If they're going to spend the money for the license, they're not going to just make kids stuff. Okay, well, let me tell you something, Jersey Maniac. You've changed my mind. You have changed my mind. At first, I was going to be like just the kids stuff, but when I saw this, right, I said, yes, you are correct, but not because Mattel isn't stupid, right? Let's all agree on this. It's because Mattel is greedy, right? And that is what we're going to see going forward, is they're going to have a team who's going to do some adult collectible stuff with the DC characters, right? But I'm telling you, the same way they had 3 lines of crap going for Motu and 1 line of that Masters of the Universe, which, you know, they had some Mattel Creation stuff. They had some real expensive luxury crap in there. They can still do that. But I'm saying don't expect mainstream cool action figures of the DC line. You may not even get them in stores. It may be web only, but I'm predicting, and again, we won't know how wrong I am until 2026. I'm predicting they're going to have not as many people working on this, and they're not going to deep dive the way McFarlane did. They're going to shallow dive. You're going to get the same old guys. You're going to get a Batman but you're going to get a Batman in every color. You're going to get a Superman in a different color, and then you're going to Wonder Woman, you're going to Flash, Green Lantern. You're going to get all the same Catwoman, Joker, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Penguin guys, and that's it. You're not getting anything deep out of these guys. They're not going to go wave 3 as deep as they're going to go as you're going to get a Hawk Girl or something. This is what I'm predicting. I'm predicting that Mattel is not going to deep dive into this because I feel that McFarlane has spent the last 2 years since 2023, since he's had the license, doing exactly this, and I believe that the market is fatigued and Mattel knows this. Now, Mattel did something in the past called DC Classics, and it was actually sculpted by the Four Horsemen. This was a long time ago, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't bring back that brand and roll it out one more time because people know it and it is kind of revered at this point. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do a 6-inch line in the classics kind of style with the shallow dive characters just for the adult collectible market. But you're not going to get a whole bunch, if you get these at retail, I'll be surprised. I'll be stunned, in fact. But, what can I say? Dumbest guy in the room. It always takes me the longest to figure out what's going on. So, perhaps I'm completely off on this. Maybe it's going to be all adult collectibles. There's going to be no kids' toys. It's going to be nothing from the movies. It's going to be deep diving into the comics. They're going to go hard against Marvel Legends. They're going to do 6-inch figures. They're going to try and make them the exact same scale. Or is it going to be what I'm suggesting, which is going to be all about the shows and the movies? It's going to be all sorts of goofball characters and scales and articulation and decos, and it's going to be all over the place, and you're only going to get a few cherry-picked 100%. You're not going to get the Wonder Twins, okay? That's what I'm saying. You're not going to get you might get a Bane. I kind of doubt it. But you're going to only get the very easy characters in maybe a 1/12 scale simply because they don't want to rehash McFarlane. They're not going to take over for him. They are going to move on, and they're just going to take the stuff that they absolutely can win with. The reason for this is because it's Mattel, people. This is Mattel. This is what they do. Mattel does garbage. Mattel does quantity over quality. They will not deliver the thing that you're looking for. They're going to deliver you the thing that you're going to get. So, what do you guys think? Roast me in the comments. Let me know. Explain to me why I'm wrong. Tell me, bring it out. Drop some knowledge on me. Help me achieve the next level of enlightenment through your comments, and together we can both sort of spiritually grow. So with that, thanks to everybody who made it this far into this rambling video. I know you guys didn't deserve this, but this is what you got. You are the future buyers of Mattel products. With that, like, subscribe on your own time, but until then, everybody, stay charged.